Hey Josiah, I have another book about Raggedy Ann and Andy here for you. This one is called What Can a Camel Do? So let's look here at the map. This is the playroom where Raggedy Ann and Andy and the other dolls live. Here is the playhouse and the tool shed, and over here is the hole in the fence that they go through. This area here is called the Deep, Deep Woods, and this area up here is Raggedy Land. So, Raggedy Land all the way to the playhouse. One morning, the sparrows from the deep, deep woods fluttered about the playroom window. They brought a special message all the way from Raggedy Land. When the dolls heard the sparrows singing, they rushed to the windows. Over here's the sparrows with a message. There's Percy the policeman and Babette the French doll. Raggedy Ann, Raggedy Andy, the camel with the wrinkled knees, and here's the clown. "Oh, look," said Raggedy Ann, who was reading the invitation the sparrows had brought. "There's going to be a special show in Raggedy Land tomorrow," she announced. "It's a talent show, and we're all invited to perform." "What is a talent show?" asked Tim the toy soldier. "It's a show where everyone gets to do the thing he or she does best," replied Raggedy Ann. "And the thing each of us do best is our own special talent," added Raggedy Andy. "Oh, I see," Bubbles the clown doll said excitedly. "Magic tricks are my special talent, and that's what I would do in the talent show. If I were going to be in it, that is," he said uncertainly. "Oh, let's be in the talent show," said Sunny Bunny. "Marcella won't be home tomorrow, so we can go," he said, hopping up and down. "Oh, yes," said the other dolls, and each began to plan a special thing to do. All the dolls were very excited, except the camel with the wrinkled knees. He wasn't excited because he didn't think he had a special talent. And if he didn't have a talent, he couldn't be in the show. The camel wondered if there was something special he could do. He decided to see what everyone else was planning, hoping that would give him a good idea. Since the talent show was the very next day, the dolls were all practicing very hard. "Toot, toot, 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 toot," Percy the policeman doll played a tooting tune on his police whistle. Bubbles the clown rubbed his white gloved hands together, and presto! He magically pulled a string of colorful handkerchiefs from his sleeve. "Bubbles and Percy are good at what they do," the camel with the wrinkled knees said to himself. "But tooting and magic just aren't for me," he sighed as he slowly walked away. Just then, Raggedy Andy tumbled by. Raggedy Andy loved to do somersaults. He could do 10 in a row. And that's exactly what Raggedy Andy intended to do in the Raggedy Land talent show. "My, that looks like fun," said the camel with the wrinkled knees. "Maybe I could do a tumble too," he thought hopefully. He waited until Raggedy Andy was a fair distance away, and then he tried to tumble. The camel tried to bend over, but his head didn't quite touch the floor. His body wouldn't roll, his legs folded at the knees. He discovered that tumbling just wasn't the thing for a camel whose knees were wrinkled. So the camel stood up and brushed himself off. He still didn't know what he was going to do for the show. Then the camel saw Babette the French doll and Greta the Dutch doll practicing their act. He walked over to watch them while they worked. "Babette's song is nice," thought the camel as he listened to her play her silver flute. But he knew that a camel could never play the flute like that. "Clickety-clack, clickety-clack," tapped Greta's wooden clogs as she danced a little Dutch dance to Babette's French song. "Maybe I could do a little dance," the camel thought hopefully. Then he backed into a corner and tried to clickety-clack the way Greta did. But his front legs went in one direction and his back legs went in another. "I guess a camel's special talent isn't dancing a Dutch doll's dance," the camel sighed in a disappointed way. Then he sat himself down. He really needed to think. While the camel sat and thought, He listened to Raggedy Ann play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on Marcella's toy piano. Ping, 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 ping. The notes rang out loud and clear. And Raggedy Dog and Raggedy Cat sang the words. Now that's an idea, the camel said happily. If Raggedy Dog and Raggedy Cat can sing, perhaps I can too. The camel had never sung before, and he didn't quite know how. By this time, he was willing to give anything a try. So he took a deep breath, and he tried to sing with all his heart. But it didn't take very long for the camel with the wrinkled knees to discover he could not carry a tune. Disappointed, the camel just didn't know what to do next. Then from behind him came a very strange noise. Boing, boing, boing. The camel looked around. He looked up. He looked down. Then he noticed Sunny Bunny hopping higher than ever before. My goodness, Sunny Bunny, you can really hop high, said the camel admiringly. It's Marcella's toy trampoline, explained Sunny Bunny breathlessly. I'm practicing my hopping, he added. Then he disappeared from sight. So I see, the camel said with a sigh. Then the camel with the wrinkled knees slowly walked away. He went over and sat in a corner. There must be something a camel can do, he whispered softly to himself, and he tried to think of the things he liked to do best. I like to take long walks, he thought to himself, remembering how much he enjoyed the walks along to Raggedy Land. And I like to give other dolls rides on my back. But those are not the kinds of things a camel can do in a talent show. I'm afraid I'll never think of something to do. That evening, after Marcella had gone to bed, the dolls whispered to each other about the talent show. They were so excited that they thought they would never be able to go to sleep. But one by one, the exhausted dolls finally fell asleep. All except the camel. He stayed awake all night, thinking and worrying about what he could do at the talent show. The next day, the dolls in the playroom started packing up everything they needed for the show. Nobody noticed that the camel didn't have anything to pack. When everything was ready, the dolls stopped and stared at the big heap of stuff. Oh dear, said Raggedy Ann as she gazed at the pile in dismay. How will we ever get all these things to Raggedy Land? Nobody knew what to do. Nobody, except for the camel, that is. I know, said the camel. If you strap all your things on my back, I can carry them to the talent show and bring them back home again. What a wonderful idea, said Raggedy Ann, and all of the other dolls agreed. Hooray for the camel with the wrinkled knees, shouted Sunny Bunny. So they packed up the piano, the balls, the flute, the trampoline, and all the other things they needed, and off they trooped to Raggedy Land. And no one had a better time than the camel with the wrinkled knees. In fact, the other dolls gave him a special prize for his special talent, being a helpful friend. Without the camel, the playroom dolls would not have been able to take part in the show at all. See his ribbon? It says most helpful. And that's the end. I hope you really like this story.